How's it going, you guys? Elliot here. Hope you guys are doing okay. So the other day I was given the opportunity to teach my own dance workshop at the local dance studio I work at, and it was dope. I invited all my friends, some new friends came out to support, and we all had a great time. I taught an urban piece that I just recently choreographed, and I had a camera assistant come out to also vlog my class. And with the extra footage I had, I thought it'd be a dope idea to take you through the steps on my method of how to teach a dance workshop. Now, before we begin, I would just like to emphasize that there is not one true correct method of teaching a dance workshop. There are plenty of various methods to teach dance correctly. This layout is one that I constructed within my experience of teaching dance, and also while learning from other dancers' workshops as well. The layout of the class ultimately depends on the teacher, the objective, the style, the class type. Every class will always be different, just like how every social interaction is different. The layout we're about to go over is one I believe most dancers are familiar with. And with that being said, this exact method may not work for you, but I hope you can find this video helpful. I like to break down the workshop into 4 quarters. Depending on the length of the time, you can emphasize more time on certain quarters. Most workshops vary from 1 hour to 1.5 hours. In some special occasions, it can be even longer. In this workshop, I was given 1.5 hours. The first quarter is the introduction of the class. It should take no longer than 10 to 15 minutes. In this quarter, you'd like to greet everyone, acknowledge the presence in the room, and show gratitude towards the dancers that came to take your class. Introduce yourself, give a brief summary of your background and experience, and overall get everyone engaged to dance and learn something new. So show your personality and give a welcoming energy. If the class has not done so yet, instruct a quick warm-up and stretch. It's also a great way to get everyone on the same page. And although warming up and stretching your body is very important in dance, you must please be considerate of the time given to you. My class was 1.5 hours, so I try to keep the introduction, the warm-up, and the stretching around 15 minutes or less. Second quarter is where you finally begin to teach. But before you begin, you must identify an objective or objectives for the class. For example, is there a certain technique we are focusing on? Maybe you want to set a specific interpretation of the routine. Identifying objectives helps steer the class into the same direction. Every good teacher understands their own curriculum, so it's important to know your counts. If you don't use counts, know your sounds or lyrics that each move is executed on. It's also very important that you understand your own movement and know how to translate into comprehensible details. Translating movement is a difficult task when it comes to teaching dance because language is its own separate art form, so don't be too hard on yourself and try your best. Once you've taught a fair amount of the choreography, you can finally review the segment you just taught. Review the counts with the class slowly, then speed up. If you can sense the majority of the class looks ready, you can finally try it with music. Let them mark the choreography first, then encourage them to execute the choreography full out. After a few reviews, you can finally move on, then rinse and repeat the process of quarter 2. The third quarter should be finalizing the curriculum of the workshop. Depending on the retention of the class, you should be about 75% finished. If not, that's perfectly okay. Let the class learn at their own speed. It's best to give dancers partial knowledge they can adequately absorb and remember versus giving dancers an overabundant amount of knowledge that will be forgotten. In this section, you want to set a checkpoint for the class. Give a brief water break. You can also check in with dancers and answer any questions if they have any. After the break, put music on repeat and take 3 to 5 minutes to let dancers digest the routine at their own pace. This checkpoint also helps them build self-awareness and self-confidence within themselves. And feel free to throw in a few pointers here and there. After the checkpoint, repeat the teaching method in quarter 2 and finish the final segment of the lesson. Congratulations, you're finished with the lesson and now you can finally review. The fourth quarter recaps the lesson of the workshop. Before you begin the review process, you want to leave yourself open to any questions as well as do some last-minute polishing by setting small objectives. At the end of class, you want to leave extra time to showcase what they've learned. Split the house into groups and have them take turns. In my classes, I let each group perform 2 showcases each. The first one with me, then the second one without me. After all groups have showcased, if you have extra time, you can pick a select group of dancers who you feel have stood out from the class. If you don't want to put the dancers under pressure, that's okay. Instead, ask the class to volunteer themselves to showcase. The showcase is completely up to you, and the goal is to highlight the dancers and bring out their confidence. Sometimes, the class might even ask you to volunteer yourself to showcase. After all, it is your workshop. Once all is said and done, wrap up with your afterthoughts of the overall class. What were the highs? What were the lows? Maybe say something encouraging? The idea is to leave a lasting impression and motivate dancers to come back and learn from you again. Hey guys, that's just about it for me. Hope you guys found this video helpful. What did you think? Should I make more content like this? Comment down below. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content of mine. Subscribe to our Patreon if you'd like to support this channel. It would really help and we would really appreciate it. And huge shout out to my current Patreon subscribers. Much love to you guys. And with that being said, I'm Elliott. Peace.